right, get started now. And this is not working. Oh, here we go. All right, did I miss something? Yeah, okay, here we go. Metabolism. Remember, this is one of the criteria for life, yes? That is a way of getting energy. So we're going to be talking about how we get it. Now, remember we talked about combustion, correct? Remember, you can remember the what's needed for combustion?
Heat.
Oxygen, fuel. It produces heat, possibly light, and it makes two things.
Carbon dioxide and water.
And water, right. There we go. There it is. Fuel plus oxygen gives me carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Okay? So let me make sure this is going. So we're looking at our cells now, the cells of the human body in particular. Where does this happen? Where does the combustion, which in the human body is called respiration, where does it take place? It takes place in a structure inside your cells called the mitochondrion. Okay, so remember we drew that on your little model of your cell, right? The little mitochondria, that's the plural for mitochondrion right there. It looks like this, like a little bean that's inside of a cell, so it's really, really small. It's one of those membrane-bound organelles that we know are in all of the eukaryotic cells, right? Okay, so there's a nickname for this one, and you need to remember this nickname for this organelle for the rest of your life. Okay, seriously. If you're on Jeopardy someday, you need to remember this for the rest of your life. Does anybody know it? All right, here we go. Boom. It's called the powerhouse. Okay, so write it down somewhere. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Yes? Certainly. Okay. So when we look inside like a slide of some cells, you can see right here that the nucleus has stained dark. And then we should see, apparently this is pointing to those little tiny dots. Those little tiny dots right there are supposed to be mitochondria. If you look at it really, really close, it looks like this. So it has internal structure. Okay, so these internal structures right here are called cristae. They're little walls that help to increase the surface area. And it's almost like its own little prokaryotic cell inside there. In fact, it has its own little specialized ring of DNA. It's called mitochondrial DNA. Okay, so that DNA is really special. It's not in a, it's in a double helix, but the double helix is turned into a circle. All right, so it's very unusual that way. Also, because of the process of fertilization of eggs in humans, the only mitochondrial DNA that any of us have all comes from our mother. That's because all of the energy was used by the male mitochondrial DNA to get into the egg. And so everything we have, so we can actually track genetically our line back on our maternal side through mitochondrial DNA. It's really cool. It's really an interesting science that's up and coming as far as genetics goes, how to track certain family diseases, traits, things like this that have been passed down. Hi, John. All right, 3 things your body burns efficiently. So we're going to be looking at burning as that combustion going on inside the powerhouse known as the mitochondria. And the things we're going to burn are these. And you need to write these 3 things down. There's blanks in your book for these. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. You've heard of all of these. Okay, we're basically talking about nutrition somewhat today and how we feed the powerhouse. So if the powerhouse is, if we think of it like a little tiny furnace, right, that's giving heat to our body, we're going to put the wood into the furnace, yes? And that wood is in the form of these things right here. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And so probably, who had breakfast this morning?
No.
John Mark, what'd you have for breakfast? Do you mind my asking?
Iced coffee.
That's it? You just had coffee for breakfast? That doesn't count. I have tea.
Cereal count?
Cereal counts. Okay, you had cereal with milk?
Yes.
I assume, did you have juice or anything to drink alongside?
No.
No? Okay, so your cereal was probably from a plant, right? Probably corn or wheat.
I ate the spoon though.
You ate the spoon. Was it a metal spoon?
Crazy.
Yeah. Was it a sugar spoon?
I had nothing. I'm starving right now.
All right, so what that would have been then for you, David, was actually a pretty balanced breakfast because what you had is you had some carbohydrates. That's the cereal itself, either from corn or from wheat. You also had some fat in the milk and then protein in the milk. Okay, so it's okay. And probably your cereal was fortified with other proteins, I'm guessing. Okay? I'm not a big fan of cereal. I don't eat cereal, but only because I just don't like it very much. Yeah. But let's say you had bacon and eggs and a glass of orange juice
I wish.
for breakfast. Yeah, that'd be a good breakfast. Yeah. You know what was really perfect? Go with that: bacon, eggs, pancakes, and a glass of orange juice. That would cover everything.
You're just trying to make me hungry.
Yeah, I know.
I
Me too.
didn't have
Right?
breakfast already, so.
Oh, yeah, same here. All right, because that would give you fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. And if you put syrup on your pancakes, then that would be sugar to add to it, which isn't necessarily the greatest thing right there. But I will tell you that if you eat nothing but carbs, what will happen, David, is that maybe you might kind of have a lull in your energy. But if you had meat with that protein would let that energy keep going. Okay.
So why don't you just have steak with eggs?
Yeah, a lot of people do. That's too heavy for me. I can't eat that. That's too early in the morning to eat. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is called the food pyramid. Now, when I was growing up, this one on the right was the one that we were told to go by the government. Okay, this is a government-issued recommendation for what you should eat. And so, in my opinion, we can throw it out. The government doesn't necessarily know everything about nutrition. But when I was growing up, they said you should have the largest amount on the bottom of the pyramid there. The largest amount should be our grains, cereals, breads, things like this. So grains. Next, we would have fruits and vegetables. The next amount. Then we would have fats and proteins. And wait, is that fats? Because the very top up here would be processed sugary foods, fats as well. So maybe that's dairy, and they put fats up here. Okay, well, they've changed their minds a little bit because it's wrong what they did, and they've put it in this interesting kind of pyramid shape here. But still, we're looking at, they probably increased the dairy somewhat. The grains are still pretty big, but they've increased fruits and vegetables more than fruits. And look at our oils. Our fats in there are and our meats are very, very slender little lines right there. Okay, so I'm not necessarily in agreement with the government on this. I think we need more fats, to be honest with you.
Are they turning us into vegetarians?
Well, and vegetarianism is not a bad thing. It's just you have to be really pay close attention to what you're putting in your mouth. Good morning. Okay, so when we look at carbohydrates, I believe this, you don't have to write any of this down. It's already in your book, yeah? So when we're looking at carbohydrates, these are the things that we're trying to get from our food. Okay, I will tell you this. Carbohydrates are the quickest burning thing. That's the fast energy. Your mitochondria will take that and burn it just like that. In order to burn protein, it's got to break it down and do all this crazy stuff to it. So in order to do that, it's got to go through a lot of work just to get it where it's burnable. So you can think of proteins as the green, have you ever tried to put green wood in your fireplace? It doesn't burn very well, does it? It takes a lot longer. But our carbohydrates are going to be our nice, dry, ready-to-go wood for our fire. So monosaccharides are a simple sugar. You already know one of these. It's called glucose. Glucose is a simple sugar. A mono meaning one, it means one sugar. It's got one molecule to it. Then we have a disaccharide that is two sugars put together that link up. So if you look at my hand outstretched like this, we can think of that as a monosaccharide. It's about that big, right? Not literally, okay? And then if I link it with another one, another hand on it like there, it makes it twice as big. So here's our monosaccharide, here's our disaccharide, like this. You've heard of a disaccharide too, it's called sucrose. If you ever put sugar in your tea, you take sugar from the sugar bowl, put it in your coffee, put it on your strawberries.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sucrose.
We have
Okay, that's a
organic
disaccharide. What's that,
What
Josh?
about organic sugar?
Organic, yeah, that's what I used to. Yeah, some organic cane sugar, good stuff. If you're going to have sugar, that's the way to go.
It's not white, it's like brown.
Yeah, it's kind of a darker color,
I
right?
think it's natural. I think my mom says it's natural color.
Yeah, it is. It's not as processed, so that's good. And then we have a polysaccharide. Poly means many, so if I could link up a bunch of hands across the room, that would be a very, very long molecule right there. Several monosaccharides that are linked up, forming what is known as a starch. Okay, starchy things would be things like potatoes. That's what's being stored in the potato. Corn is very starchy. Any kind of the grains we eat are very starchy. So those are long, and I will say because they're all long like that, it does take some work to break those down, bless you, break those down, because what does my body want to burn? My body wants to burn this monosaccharide. It wants to burn glucose. all right? And so it's going to work at taking any carbs that I have and breaking it down to that single monosaccharide, because the mitochondria will burn that like that. It loves it. And it makes the energy that you need. All right, so some of our complex carbohydrates, here are simple ones. Sucrose is a disaccharide. Maltose, these are all disaccharides. Trehalose, lactose is the kind of sugar that's found in milk. If you have an intolerance to milk or a lactose intolerance, that means you're lacking a gene in your DNA that you can't process lactose. And you'll never be able to process lactose, sorry. You'll have to drink lactose-free or take some sort of medicine that, when I say medicine, it's a supplement that has the enzyme that breaks it down. And then melabiose, I don't know that one very well. But these are found naturally mostly in plants or, like I said, in the dairy like that. But we have complex carbohydrates, which have more and have more starchy things in them, so more polysaccharides in them. And we have foods like these over here. We have pasta, legumes. Legume is anything that grows in a pod. So like the pea, a green bean has a pod. Peanuts grow in a pod. So anything like that is considered a legume. And legumes are complex carbohydrates with starches in them. So if you are gluten-free, you probably can't eat much of the stuff on this picture. Maybe potatoes right there would be all right. All right. So what's the problem with gluten? Gluten is just a protein that is in a lot of these complex carbohydrates, mostly in the wheats and things like this. It's naturally occurring in wheat. And what gluten does is it tends to denature the inside of our small intestine. It makes our small intestine less able to absorb things, especially if you have an allergy to it. An allergy to it would be a condition called celiac disease. And those are people who literally cannot process, and it ruins their gut. Makes them sick. Here are some of these complex carbs we can find in our legumes. All right, so do y'all recognize all these? We have black beans. Those are probably your soybeans. These are called garbanzo beans. Y'all ever eaten hummus?
No.
Hummus is ground up garbanzo beans. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty good stuff. These are black-eyed peas. You eat those on New Year's Day, yeah? Everyone? No? We do it.
My mom made me eat a couple. I didn't like.
Yeah, you got to have the one, right? Yeah. I don't know what these ones are here. Do y'all know
I
what
think
those
those
are?
regular ones.
I think those are peas.
Oh, maybe those are peas. I don't know. They have that little line. But these ones over here, these are. I know what those are. I just can't think of them right now. Lentils. Lentils. Y'all heard of lentils?
Those might be.
I have lentils at my house, but I don't know how to cook
Those
them.
might be lima beans.
Lima beans, maybe if they're small. Yeah, lima beans are pretty large.
Wait, were those chickpeas?
Chickpeas, yeah, garbanzo beans, yeah, chickpea. That's hummus. Yeah, those are all the same name. Yeah. All right, so then we have fat. So fat is our next one. So people, when I was growing up, you know how you see stuff now in the grocery store that says gluten-free, all that kind of stuff, you know, that kind of thing. Well, for me, it was always fat-free, fat-free, fat. Don't have any fats. Okay, well, it turns out fats are absolutely necessary for us to have a healthy body, namely because it is fat that cushions our brain. Our brain really needs it. Here's the deal. What kind of fat? Where are you going to get it from? Okay, so we have two types we'll be looking at, two main types. The unsaturated type, that you see a picture of it right here. So look at that long chain of carbons right there. So starch is similar, long chain of carbons, but here we have something interesting. We have an acid on the end called COOH right here. That's what makes it a fat. And here's our other COOH right there. That's carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. All right, notice it has a double bond between these two carbons right here. Carbons have 4 things bonding to them. They can't have more than 4 things bonding to them. And so if you see right here on this carbon, I have 1, 2, and then 3, 4. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what 4 things. That's where that double bond comes in. And they're sharing 2 sets of electrons right there. That's chemistry. So that's called unsaturated. That means there's an open spot there. If I took that bond out, I could fit another couple of H's in there, hydrogens in there. Then I have our saturated, no double bonds. This one tends to be solid at room temperature. This one tends to be liquid at room temperature. Okay, so for the longest time, even now, there is debate among the dietitians in which one of these is good and which one of these is bad. Are they both good? Are they both bad? This kind of thing. We don't know, okay? But I'll give you what my understanding is at this moment in time. Things keep changing all the time. Typically what they'll say is if it's solid at room temperature, it's not very good for you. If it's liquid at room temperature, it's better for you. That's the general consensus of what the government is saying right now. I will tell you I disagree with that. Okay, one main reason I disagree with that. I'll show it to you. Okay, so what do we need fat for? Okay, we need it to store energy for later. Yes.
How come drinks get hot and then food gets cold whenever it's at room temperature?
You're talking about a cold drink getting warm?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so ice cream is food and it's cold and it would get warm too. Okay, so everything's going to go toward whatever that surrounding temperature is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but everything's going to go to room temperature. Yes, Olivia.
If it was a hot drink though, like coffee, then it would go.
Yes, and cold and hot food goes cold. It's true. It's because of a heat exchange. Okay, that's just normal heat exchange with the environment right there. I have my tea, my hot tea in here, but it's in one of these insulated cups, right? So it actually stays hot for so long that, you know, by lunchtime I'm still drinking hot tea. Right now it's too hot to drink. All right, so what is it for? We're going to store energy for later. Also, we're going to have cushion and insulation, so our body fat helps to keep us warm. That's for real. It helps us float in the pool. Those of you who have no body fat, you probably sink like a rock at the bottom of the pool, right?
No,
You
you
don't
can't
have much.
float 'cause you're so skinny.
If you hold your breath, you know, you'll float up a little bit. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to sink all the time, but now I do just fine. I float just fine. Anyway, it cushions our body as well. You can see right here we have some of our liquid portions right here. The vitamins that we get from there are vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin E. What that means, when I say we get it from there, they store those. Okay, so those vitamins are processed. Those are fat soluble. So I'm not saying I get those vitamins from the oils and the fats. I process those vitamins through oil and fat. Okay, so sometimes I might need to get these vitamins somewhere else from other food items. Like, for instance, the vitamin D right here we get from sun. I'm so happy to see the sun out today. I didn't want to come to school today. I don't know if any of you agree with me on that because it's such a beautiful day. I would rather have just stayed out and played in the sun, right? Because it's beautiful. Hopefully tomorrow will be just as beautiful because I can play in the sun
I
tomorrow.
missed everybody wanting to come.
Sunshine is good for us, right? We know that from our skin, right? Sunshine is good for us because it helps to convert vitamin D, but that D is stored in our fat. All right, so this can be a problem. So if you take, like I take vitamin D every day because of our lack of sunshine, right? And so, but it's stored in my fat, and I could take too much. It's possible I could take too much. Same with A, tends to store up as well. K is not as big a problem because it's not as available to us from natural sources. I take a pill for that one too, actually. Okay, so what foods would be considered healthy fats then? Yes, Grace.
What happens if like can you get like sick from getting like a sunburn? Like what if you can't like your skin doesn't really absorb the sun, it just kind of.
So when you say getting sick, you mean vitamin-wise or just burn-wise? Yeah, burn, yeah. So some people can process, can handle sunshine better than other people. And that has to do with that melanin. Remember we talked about melanin? Melanin are those cells in our body that send up the darker things to help protect us from UV. Well, some of us don't have as much melanin. And so like I have at least one of my sons who burns, he's red, it peels off, and he's white underneath. No tan. You know, so I can tan pretty easily, which I prefer because it's good for us. So I understand if you burn very easily, you're not going to be out there in the sun as much. That's a bummer.
I am outside for a long time, I don't tan.
Really?
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
get sunburn either.
Oh, okay. All right, so take a look at this picture. This is comparing good fats to bad fats. Okay, so I'm in agreement with most of this picture. There's one glaring thing on here that's wrong. Can anybody guess it?
Salmon, I like that. Peanut butter, I like that. Pizza, I like that. Cupcakes, I like that.
Somebody said it on the bottom list right here. There's butter, and they say butter's a bad fat. Oh no! Butter is a superfood, y'all. Do y'all prefer butter over margarine?
Yeah.
Do your parents do butter over margarine? Margarine is fake butter.
I think we use real butter.
Huh?
I think we use real butter.
Yeah, does it come in a stick?
Yeah.
A stick like that? That's kind of a fat stick right there. Yeah, so if it comes in a stick, it's probably butter. When I was growing up, it was all said, oh, butter's terrible for you. Feed your kids this thing, and it came in a tub, and you take the lid off.
Tub of stuff.
Yeah, and so we used to put that on our toast and stuff like this. It's horrible for you. It's terrible for you. The scientists were 100% wrong. Imagine that. Joe Martin.
Yeah, my mom never liked us putting butter on
Philadelphia
our
stuff.
bread.
She doesn't like you putting butter on your bread?
No.
Because other people also, some people might disagree with this list about the peanut butter. Some people might think peanut butter. I think it's really good. It's a good fat. I really believe that. The problem is I like Jif You ever tasted Jif?
Olivia can't have
And
it.
it's got a lot of sugar in it.
Olivia can't have it.
Oh, you can't have peanut butter at all? It's because of the peanuts. Yeah, those are legumes as well. Yeah, but it is, especially if you're eating that really healthy peanut butter that separates and you have to stir it up, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the
That
one that has
healthy-
liquid inside of it?
Yeah,
Ew.
yeah, that's really good for
That's
you.
gross.
Yeah, it's
It
good.
is gross.
If it's all you know, it's delicious. But if you taste Jif is like got sugar in it. Yes.
Nutty peanut butter or smooth?
Oh, there's a debate. Smooth or crunchy?
Smooth. Crunchy.
Uh-oh,
Oh,
got
you
one
know.
crunchy? Crunchy.
What's
I like smooth too. I prefer
What's
smooth.
in
You
here?
don't even know what we're talking
Maybe
about.
take a bite from it.
Okay, now, as far as unhealthy fats go on this bottom list, I will agree, except for the butter. I say eat butter all day long. It's great. Eat it by itself. Blech. Yeah, it's so good for us. Okay, listen. John.
My niece used to go out at night and just eat a whole stick of butter.
Oh. Yeah, so I'm not I don't like butter that much, but.
I hate
Yeah.
that.
Okay, now listen. Has anybody today ordered pizza for lunch?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay, notice it's on our list. Look,
Uh-huh.
down there. Okay, I will argue against that just a little bit, because think about it. Think of what it's got on it. It's got the wheat, right? So if you can tolerate wheat, I do believe it's wheat and that kind of gluten stuff that's making us fat. Honestly, it's not fat. It's those empty carbs. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's got that carbohydrate. It's got tomato sauce.
Which is kinda
It's got,
sunny.
which has our vitamins and things. We'll get to that in just a minute. It's got cheese, which has really good fats for it, and then it probably has meat. Y'all get pepperoni
Yeah.
on there?
Well, no,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, so that's your protein. So really, a pizza is a beautiful example of all the things you need. So now, should you eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day of your life? No. No. And probably if you could get, and I bet you they'd do this if you asked for them, they'd deliver you a salad to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you go to the pizza joint and you go to the salad bar and the pizza thing, right? Whenever we can go back to pizza joints, right? Although the governor said yes. Yes, he did.
What if you went to this where you buy pizza on the break room and you put pizza with salad?
You should try it. You have to pay for it, of course, and it's going to be more expensive than $1 or whatever. The salads are actually kind of expensive. Okay, next, up here. Do y'all like salmon?
Yes, I love salmon.
Oh, salmon is so good for us.
My mom will make like the salmon dinner, and so she'll put she'll make cilantro and lime, and she'll put it on the top of it.
What'd you say she put on?
Cilantro and lime.
Cilantro and lime. Oh, that sounds amazing.
So good.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. I also like it with teriyaki and over rice and something. Yes, Josh.
Yeah, my birthday dinner I used to have a lot was salmon with asparagus and white rice.
So that was your choice.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to choose your favorite thing and you chose salmon. Very cool. Also, y'all, I'm going to tell you, if you don't like these, you should start, because it is God's gift to the planet. Avocados are so good for us.
When I was
So good. Guacamole, it's all so, guacamole with cilantro, oh my goodness, so good. And lime. All right, so, listen, it is important to eat healthy fats. If I get all of my fats from potato chips, I will be unhealthy. If you're unhealthy, your immune system will be crummy, and if your immune system is crummy, you might catch a terrible thing like COVID. You see what I'm saying? It's all about what we put in, okay? So I believe that America's having a big problem with COVID because we have lousy diets around here. Olivia.
When I was little, me and my dad would make this thing. So it was like you get an avocado, but you take the seed out, and then in the seed you put some olive oil with salt, and you just scoop the
Okay.
avocado out and get some of the olive oil with it. It's really
Well, let me tell you what I did growing up, and it might gross y'all out. I did that same thing, except instead of olive oil in there, I put ketchup and vinegar, and I'm telling y'all, oh my gosh, it's so good. But keep in mind, ketchup has sugar in it. So, John Mark, did you have a question? Comment?
I had one, but then I forgot.
Okay, well, let me know if it comes back to you. Okay, now, what to eat. Here we go. Here are some other healthy fats. Avocados are first on the list. Who likes olives? Olives are good, and olive oil. So, Olivia mentioned olive oil. Olive oil is magic. If it's good stuff, it's magic.
I kind of like black olives.
Black olives, black olives started off green. Did you know that? Black olives are just ripe green olives.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they look like when they ripen. Nuts. Okay, nuts are good for us. Almonds, peanuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, pecans, cashews, everything. All right? I always go for the most expensive ones. That would be cashews and Pistachios. Yeah, those are the most expensive.
Oh wait, no. I like
Pistachios.
cashews, pistachios, random ones.
Those are the most expensive.
Pecans.
Yeah, walnuts. I love walnuts. Okay. All right, peanut butter. Notice it has in here organic. All right, so that's just a little judgy on my part right there, but really, because I'm just saying Jif, the one I like, has a lot of sugar in it. Okay, fatty fish.
If it's not organic, that means they put the spray to keep bugs away.
Exactly, they had some sort of insecticide on the plant, which may have got into it. Yeah, so organic is always better if you have the opportunity and the funds to because it's more expensive to purchase it. Fatty fish, these are salmon, tuna, mackerel, herring, trout, and sardines. Sardines are magic too. I can't do it. I don't know about y'all. I can't eat sardines.
Is cod good for you?
It's not on this list, but I believe cod is good for you. The ones that I would avoid would be tilapia, sadly. Tilapia is so delicious.
Oh, it is.
And it's not very good for you. Any kind of farmed fish. So
So good.
I also will say in my judginess right here that if you can get wild caught fish, it's really the best, but they're very expensive. Wild caught salmon is very expensive. Grass-fed butter. So this is from cows who ate only grass. So if you can, have you ever heard of Kerrygold butter? Kerrygold in the gold wrapper? No? It's really the best. I'm doing an ad for them. Okay, proteins. Listen up. So the next group here, we had carbs, fats. Now we're looking at proteins. Proteins are long chains of something called amino acids. So both things, the fats and now these, we've seen acids in there. So most of the food that we eat is acidic. All right, and so our body has ways of deacidifying all the food we eat, and we'll get to that as we start covering each one of these systems in our bodies. Okay, so each one of these little dots right here is a different amino acid. There's probably 20 to 24 different kinds of amino acids. Some of them our body makes, some of them they don't. We call those essential. Those are the ones you must get from your food. Okay, so we have to get our proteins so that we can build protein in our body. If you want muscles, if you want big muscles, you've got to be consuming protein, okay? I think if you're going to be a bodybuilder or an athlete, now Tom Brady does anybody know if Tom Brady's he's not a vegetarian, is he?
I don't think so.
I know he eats really healthy. He looks like he hasn't aged a day. He just won the Super Bowl.
Wait, no,
Just won the
no.
Super Bowl. He's the quarterback of the
He's
Tampa
older-
Bay Buccaneers.
He's older than Drew Brees and he's still playing.
He is
He's
bald?
older than
No.
Drew Brees.
No, he looks like he's 20, but he's 40. Yeah. All right, so all chemical reactions in the body depend upon proteins, including building our muscle. They're the workers of the body. Every protein has a very specific function. They have funny shape. Look at the shapes of these proteins right here. Aren't those interesting shapes? Okay, so here are several examples of proteins our body needs on a daily basis. Antibodies. Antibodies are proteins produced by specialized cells called lymphocytes, and those are the ones that fight off things like COVID virus. They fight it off, okay? If you ever had a vaccine, the vaccine was stimulating antibody production against whatever you were vaccinated, chickenpox, whatever it was. Actin and myosin are fibers and muscles. That's what these are right here. This is like a little hook that pulls these little other hooks along to contract your muscle. I'll show you like a little video of that in just a second. Insulin is very important to get your glucose into your cells. It's like the transport into your cells. John Mark.
I finally remembered what
Yes,
I was
go
going
ahead.
to say. So the mask mandate is going to be lifted
Woohoo!
next week.
I know.
I guess ODA has decided they're going to.
Hooray for the governor. Yeah, so good deal. Companies can still require it. I don't know what ODA is going to do. Hopefully they'll drop it. All right, lactase, the enzyme that helps you break down milk, sugars. Pepsin helps you digest your food. Guys, listen. Keratin makes our skin harden and our hair hardened. I know that sounds bad, but collagen makes our bones elastic. Elastin is in our ears right here, right? In our cartilage. Hemoglobin, transport oxygen. All these things are proteins. When we take proteins, oftentimes they get folded several times into something that looks a lot like this. That's an artist rendition. They kind of get curled up on each other. It's called quaternary structure. All right, this is showing this little hook pulling on these little hooks right here. And that is going to make our muscle contract. And all that stuff coming in here, those little dots coming in, this little thing, that's ATP, adenosine triphosphate. For every little stroke that's being pulled by the little head of this myosin head, you need a molecule of ATP. The ATP is coming from the energy that's being produced by respiration inside your mitochondria, the powerhouse. Okay, that's why it's important. Your heart's beating right now. All those little muscle things have to be going on right this second,
What's
even if
that
you're not moving.
pyramid Thing?
Say again?
What's that pyramid thing that keeps?
That's the ATP.
Oh.
The pyramid thing that's coming in is the ATP causing this little head to move, and then that's when it breaks it off right there, it sends off ADP, that green thing, ADP. And these little things are being moved out of the way so it can capture on top of that. Okay, can your body make amino acids? Okay, it's the short answer is no, but the true answer is it can make some, but it can't make all of them for sure. Okay, so you have to have enough protein in your diet. Now, if you are eating red meat, if you are eating steak, hamburgers, things like this, then you are getting everything you need for protein, everything. So you don't have to worry about it, okay? If you don't eat red meat, and let's say you're a vegetarian, then you have to pay close attention that you get all of the amino acids, okay? You have to, what they call it completing a protein. Okay, so as long as you pay attention, for instance, if you put wheat and rice together, so you take a tortilla made of wheat, you put rice on it, you put beans on it, you're good. You're gold. There it is. That's all you need right
What if
there.
you don't put beef in there?
Oh, look, it contains all but lysine, so if you have to put beans to get the lysine. If you eat legumes, they have everything except tryptophan and methionine, so you got to get those somewhere else. So you take your rice and beans, you complete your protein, you get all 20 to 24 amino acids. And so take a look here. We have a vegetarian taco.
No.
This is good for you right here. We got some beans, we got some corn. That corn will take the place of the wheat. Okay, so corn, beans, and then I got some fats and then some yummy vitamins on there as well. That's called a tomato. Yes.
I had some steak fajitas last night.
Nice. Did you
Yeah.
put other stuff besides just steak on there? Did you put some cheese?
No.
No. Sour cream?
Salsa.
Salsa, but no sour cream?
No.
No avocado?
No.
So you're missing your fat, is what I'm saying. You need to get fat put on there. So that's why we put sour cream on there. What does?
But meat has.
If the meat, but if it's real lean meat, maybe there's some fat in the meat.
Yeah, I think it was pretty lean.
For fajitas, we use pretty lean meat.
Yeah, it was. My mom made them, and they were really good.
I bet it was good, Josh.
I had Panda Express kind of for like a late lunch, but then I had mixed spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah, but was your Panda Express like a deep fried chicken thing?
No, it was straight
Like
up
orange
chicken.
chicken
It
or
was straight
whatever?
up chicken.
Okay, there you go. That orange chicken's good, but it's just been fried and stuff.
It's
you know.
spicy. I don't like it.
Oh, really? Okay. All right, so there are micronutrients we need to. So those three things we talked about, gang, listen, that carbohydrate, fat, and protein, those are called macronutrients. You must have those. Micronutrients will come in and support all of that. So it's important that we have. Does anybody take a daily vitamin?
Yes.
Yeah, I take some vitamins. I take lots of vitamins, yeah. And so that's to help make all our processes run smoothly. All right, so some of these vitamin nutrients you can see right down here. We can see, you can't see very well what those are, but there are all sorts of little minerals and things. It turns out if you, one of the reasons our food isn't as nutritious anymore is because we have depleted the minerals in the soil. Okay, so it's important that our soil gets all the minerals put back into it. So an organic farmer will take a field and grow whatever he's growing, and then the next year he'll move to the next field and leave that field alone for a year. It's called letting the field go fallow. And when it goes fallow, organic material, humus, will get in there and that will be replaced. So that's always good. That's what you can count on from an organic farmer. I did want to say a couple of things here on some minerals. For instance, they told us that they're figuring things out as far as this COVID virus, that if you have enough zinc and vitamin D, that you should be able to fight it just fine. And furthermore, you young people don't have any problem. And that's because you have a thymus gland, which is nice and healthy, but older people, our thymus gland shrinks away because we don't eat enough zinc.
I think they said children are immune to it.
I don't know if immune is, it's just you have a good immune system. Yeah. So if you want to say immune to it that way, I think it comes into your body and you just defend it. You get rid of it. You say, doesn't hurt you. Endothermic means warm-blooded. Ectothermic means cold-blooded. So we'll be looking at different kinds of animals this way, the way they use their nutrients. And the warm-blooded ones need more to keep them warm. Okay, they need to feed that fire, right? So cold-blooded animals don't need as much input. Olivia.
Wait, so bird is
Warm-blooded, yep. Birds
so
are
how
warm-blooded.
do they not really like bleed
Birds?
Yeah, or how do they like survive in the winter?
How do they survive in the winter? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, mostly they fly somewhere warmer. They fly away.
But like the little birds.
Oh yeah, the
That
little
we have
birds
around
in
here?
snow.
Yeah, that were around.
Oh, I know, and
a lot.
I was feeling so bad because they were looking for food, and there was snow everywhere. Yeah, they were not used to that either. They had the same problem. Now, there were some birds who died from that freeze. It was so cold, they weren't used to it, and they didn't know they were supposed to fly away because it doesn't get that cold around here.
I was like, what are they
But
doing?
why don't
Shouldn't
they
be?
like bleed a lot if they're warm blood?
Why don't they what?
Bleed a lot, like if they like, for example, like break something.
They do bleed. Yeah. Have you ever shot a bird?
Well, I'm saying like the
Please.
little ones that were out, like a lot of them. Do y'all know?
Well, but if like you ran over them and squished them, there would be a puddle of blood there. Yeah, they have blood in there. Yeah. So they just, we don't typically bleed if we break a bone, unless it pokes through like Tiger Woods. Yeah. So, all right. He was in a car crash and had a compound fracture. Yeah. Body temperature. So maintaining your body temperature for warm-blooded creatures like us takes a lot of energy. So we need to eat more calories. Okay. So the word we call the energy unit for things is called a calorie. Calorie is how much energy something has in it. If you look at any package that you, like say your cereal box or whatever, it'll tell you how many calories are in each serving. It has a big C though, because calorie is really 1,000 calories equals one food calorie. So like for instance, when you look at a Big Mac hamburger, I think it has 3,000 calories. We have to actually multiply that by 1,000 to tell you how many actual calories it has in it. So how much energy is in the food? The metabolic rate is the rate at which your body uses that energy. So all of us have what is known as a basal metabolic rate, the minimum amount or energy your body needs to survive every day, and it's different for each one of us. Y'all have a higher basal metabolic rate because you're younger than I am. Okay, my metabolic rate has slowed down as I turned into a grandma. I get slower. That's natural. Activity rate, that affects how much energy you do in a day for your activities. So hopefully y'all are fairly active. You move around a lot. I got a trampoline for Christmas. I'm supposed to jump on it. I've been on it once. Yeah.
I skateboard.
Can we have
Good.
it? Can I have it?
Well, my grandkids love it, but we really got it for my grandkids. I'm not supposed to be using it, to get some more. I need to just move around some more, right? Endothermic organisms have a higher basal metabolic rate because, of course, they need to maintain that temperature, that internal temperature. Okay, so we're looking at a scale right here. We can see that our body mass goes up on this scale to the right, and our metabolic rate goes up on the scale to the left right here. So you can see at the very bottom, the very small body mass of a mouse doesn't use very much, doesn't have a very high metabolic rate. Okay, so it's because it's so small. And this guy up here, this elephant, is huge, and it's got a lot of exposed skin. Okay, so notice that smaller mammals have lower rates because they have more surface area exposed. I'll show you a video in just a second. The larger has a lot of surface area exposed, so a lot of heat is lost through their skin. All right, so yes.
You know some people hunt elephants?
How they hunt them? I don't know if there's any such thing as legal hunting of elephants right
but
now.
you know they hunt them, right?
Sure.
How do they hunt the elephant? Like,
Well, you
Rifle.
use something called an elephant gun, yeah, and you kind of sneak up on them. And
is it big or?
is the gun big?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's called an elephant gun. It's huge. Yeah, Olivia.
They were like pretty much getting like rhinos and cutting off their like
Yes.
much horns.
Yeah, I think the white
Their
rhino
tusks.
went extinct already.
Their tusks.
Yeah.
And it was so sad because they.
It's very sad. Yeah, they'll kill them just to get their tusks because of the ivory, which is worth money.
I think they
People
said
were
that a
putting-
rhino's thing is the same stuff for your fingernails.
Rhino's horn is made up of. It's basically hair. Yeah.
Yeah. People were putting like giving them shots to like pretty much, I don't know what it did to the stuff, but it made it where it wasn't useful. So people
Making the
would
ivory
stop-
not useful. Okay.
So it's not-
Well, I think
people would
also
stop
you
doing
can
that.
actually cut off the tusk of an elephant while he's sedated, and then he will have no tusk, right? But it's kind of like pulling a tooth or something. They have to be sedated, and that would make them not desirable to
Do they
kill.
not grow back?
They do, but so slowly, very slowly. Okay, let's watch this to talk about basal metabolic rate.
An elephant eats several hundred pounds of food every day. Now that's a lot of food, but compared to the elephant's weight, it's really not so much. It's only a few percent of the elephant's total weight. A mouse, on the other hand, eats less than an ounce of food a day, but that can be up to 15% of its body weight. So in terms of body weight, a mouse eats a lot more than an elephant. Why is that? Well, look at this mouse. Notice that a large amount of its body is simply its skin, its outside, so it loses heat to its surroundings fairly quickly. An elephant, on the other hand, has a much larger amount of its body on the inside, not exposed to the air. As a result, the elephant loses less heat to its surroundings. Because of this, it doesn't have to eat as much to maintain its constant temperature.
Okay, and I think I said that backward on our previous slide. Okay, so if you were going to calculate your basal metabolic rate, you would go through something like this. You would weigh yourself, and then you would put it into this formula. So for women, this would be adult women. You take the number 655. Somebody figured it out. I don't know who. And then add it to 4.35 times my weight in pounds, plus 4.7 times my height in inches, minus 4.7 times my age in years. And then I would come up with a number. And that number would say, this is the amount that I need for daily, just daily, regular living. Okay, men, it's a little different. Notice that number, 66. All right, and all the numbers are a little different. And it has to do with the basal metabolic rate of males being that much different than that of females. And that has to do with multiple things, hormones and stuff like that. Okay, all right, so if you wanted to figure your basal metabolic rate, it would tell you how many calories you need to eat on a daily basis just to maintain. That's essentially what that is. Here it is again. I believe it's the same. Looks right. And notice my height and my age have something to do with it as well. Okay? And essentially what it means for someone like me is that I can't eat the way I used to when I was young. I can't eat junk food anymore without consequences. Yeah. All right, so your target daily calorie need. If you don't get very much exercise at all, you take your BMR that you calculated, you multiply it by 1.2, and that's going to tell you your calories. If you have light exercise, medium exercise, heavy duty exercise, right here, you see how you're going to change those numbers right there. And if you're really intensely exercise, right there. And what that means essentially is that the more exercise you do, the more calories your body can handle. Okay, so you won't have the consequences if you just exercise, okay? Just exercise and take care of anything you're putting into your body. Okay, now here comes the hard part of the module right here. It's about the process of combustion in our bodies called respiration. So who can tell me the photosynthesis reaction? Who's got it? We start off with 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O.
Burdened by sunlight and
Sunlight. And what is it making?
Oxygen.
C6, H12, O6 plus 6 O2. Right? That's photosynthesis in plants. Now if I took this right here and I changed this arrow and put the arrow going the other way, that's what we're doing. Okay? That's called respiration. Assuming you're breathing, right? So what's going to happen is we have 3 steps now to take this process of my glucose, C6H12O6, and I'm breathing my O2, and I'm going to turn it into CO2 and H2O, okay? And along the way, it's going to end up taking that energy that got put in from the sun, that energy is going to come back out as something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, in my mitochondria. So there are 3 steps in order for this to happen. You have these written down: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and the electron transport system. Okay, and so this is a cascade of biochemical events. And when I say that, you should say no. That means it's the hard stuff. Okay, our cascade of we're going to watch a little video in a second. This is just a part of it. This is the Krebs cycle right there. I had to, in college, was given a blank piece of paper and had to write that thing down on a blank piece of paper.
That circle right there?
Just
Yeah.
write it on the side.
Does it not? Is it written for you?
I don't.
It's already written for you. What page is you're yelling on?
60.
60? 60? 60. You see it on there, Olivia? It's already written for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got it? Okay. All right, which brings us back to the powerhouse, right? Our mitochondria. So it turns out that the first step, glycolysis, happens outside the mitochondria, but the other two steps happen inside. One at the outer membrane, one at the inner membrane, right there. Okay, so here it is. All right, here's our glucose comes in, glycolysis takes place here. We end up making 2 adenosine triphosphates, 2 ATPs. Then it takes whatever the products are and adds it into the Krebs cycle, blue, 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 like this. Make 2 more ATP, sends it over to the magic spot, electron transport chain, 32 adenosine triphosphates, 32 ATPs, okay? So that's 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So when I can say over here, I can take my C6H12O6 plus 6O2 yields 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 36 ATP. And that's the magic. That's why we have energy in our bodies right now. Okay, and it's taking place in the mitochondria. Do not forget that. Big star by mitochondria. Okay, we're going to watch a video on it real quick. Not that quick.
Aerobic respiration starts with 1 glucose molecule and 6 oxygen molecules. They react in a complex 4-step process that I want to illustrate for you by means of this animation. The first step is called glycolysis, and the background of this animation will stay pink throughout that first step. In glycolysis, the glucose molecule is split in half, some of the atoms rearrange, and 4 hydrogen atoms are liberated from the molecule. In the end, this results in 2 new molecules called pyruvic acid molecules, 4 individual hydrogen atoms, and some energy. Notice that nothing happened to the oxygen molecules at the top. That's because this step is anaerobic, which means it doesn't need oxygen. All right, let's move on to the next step of the process. The next step is called the formation of acetyl coenzyme A, and I'm going to color the background of the animation yellow during this step. Notice we still have 6 oxygen molecules up at the top. That's because they haven't been used yet. We have 4 hydrogen atoms from glycolysis. And we also have 2 new things, 2 coenzyme A's. Where did these guys come from? Well, they're not a part of what we consider the necessary components for aerobic respiration because they're produced in one respiration and used in the next. As a result, the net effect is they're neither used up nor produced. They simply cycle through respirations. What do these guys do? Well, they go react with the pyruvic acid molecules. They cleave a hydrogen from the pyruvic acid molecules, liberating carbon dioxide, and they attach to what remains. The result is 2 new molecules called acetyl coenzyme A's, 2 carbon dioxide molecules, and 2 more hydrogen atoms. Although a lot of chemistry takes place in this step, no energy is produced. That's the end of the formation of acetyl coenzyme A. Now we're ready for the next step, the Krebs cycle. I'll keep the background of the animation green during the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is the first step that uses oxygen. 3 of the oxygen molecules that we need for aerobic respiration come down and interact with the acetyl coenzyme A molecules. This breaks the molecules apart, liberating the coenzyme A's, producing carbon dioxide and hydrogen. In the end, this produces 4 more carbon dioxide molecules, 6 more hydrogen atoms, 2 coenzyme A's, and some energy. Now remember, those coenzyme A's will be used in the next aerobic respiration, so we don't really consider them products. They're just going to get used up again. All right then, we're almost done. We just have to get through the last step, which is called the electron transport system. During this step, I'll keep the animation's background blue. In the electron transport system, the 12 hydrogen atoms from the previous steps interact with the 3 remaining oxygen molecules. This results in 6 water molecules being formed. That's the end of aerobic respiration. So what did aerobic respiration make? Well, it made 6 carbon dioxide molecules, it made 6 water molecules, it made some coenzymes for the next respiration, and it made a lot of energy. In the end then, aerobic respiration simply takes a glucose molecule and 6 oxygen molecules and makes 6 water molecules, 6 carbon dioxide molecules, and a bunch of energy. Remember, even though they're listed here, we're not going to consider those coenzyme A's products because they're going to be used in the next respiration step.
All right, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to
No.
Okay, yeah. So do you see how complex it is? So this is one of those things where we have a cascade of biochemical events where in my opinion, God's kind of like showing off a little bit. He's got all this extra steps in there, right, in order for all this to take place. Notice how the video talked about 4 steps. That's because in his particular case, some people consider it 4 steps, where that second step is broken into 2. But for our book, we're calling it 3 steps. Okay, so we're going to go with what your book says about the 3 steps. Okay, so 4 concepts to remember. Combustion is amazing and complex. In our bodies, it's fortunately a very gentle process. Combustion occurs in those 3 steps to release energy. 2 of the 3 steps occur inside the mitochondrion of the cell. That's the Krebs and the electron transport. And the mitochondrion are the powerhouses of the cells. Okay, so I want you to be sure to remember that. Okay, so we're going to do a little demonstration on combustion here, and then we are going to attempt to make some microscope slides and see some mitochondria under the scope. Okay, so maybe I'll get you all started on that while I'm setting up my combustion situation right here. Okay, so the way we do that is, let me get you a few things.
When you asked that question, you said like.
What?
When you asked that question, you said like 7
You
times.
said like this now.
I didn't say it 7 times in a row.
Right there. I can't dispute the other Zach. So wait.
Scared me.
Your arm would have broke.
Oh my god. It burns. Oh no. Dude, that isn't valid.
My dad
You
already
gotta
made me
like
upset.
drink it, you know?
Sometimes when your dad I don't know if your dad just do you like that, but like kind of go like that to make you flinch. One time, I was having time I was like going to a game, I told one of my games, like trying to come and stop it, so I came up with the dashboard.
Oh! Oh golly.
Okay, so we're going to get you a slide
I didn't think you was
Slide.
and a cover slip.
I didn't even think you
And
cared.
these cover slips, are kind of invisible.
I didn't think you
We're
cared.
gonna burn stuff?
We are.
You came
Yeah!
like fully decked out.
Alright, ready?
I'm a pyromaniac, bro.
Yeah, we're making a slide.
I'm not good with fire.
Earrings, 2 chains.
I'll leave those here for now.
I'm gonna put my fingerprint on there.
You both just like.
Hey, that's like detective stuff.
That was my new, these are my new frames.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I said what?
my ground is here.
I actually was.
Look at
What
it.
if you out of it?
Y'all do that.
When do you want to move it?
Well, it's like
Okay, so we're going to try to find the mitochondria in a living thing. And the living thing we're going to use is celery.
Oh, I hate celery.
But we use that of everything.
Organic, yeah. I figure if I have to eat some of it, I'll end up eating it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to get y'all to do. Okay, I'm going to bring you a very, very sharp
Knife.
scalpel blade.
I have
Okay, now listen. Everybody remember you signed a safety contract at the beginning of the year. Which means what is the scalpel blade going to be touching? No. Celery only. Okay? And your goal right now is when I bring you that blade and a piece of celery is you're going to be cutting literally on top of your slide right there, okay? And you're going to take your little piece of celery and try to cut the thinnest
piece of skin.
piece of celery off of here, like a slice through it like this, so thin that you could put it on your book and read through it. That's how thin it needs to be, okay? So, remember that.
I don't think that's how celery works.
Well, there's a bunch of small ones.
Not a version of
Try on.
Yay, nice.
Usually I use
Yes.
razor blades for this, but you have to hold those in your hand like this and it makes me nervous. So I'm going to give you a
No, yeah.
scalpel blade. They're just as sharp, they just have a handle.
Calvin Klein.
Alright, so I'm going to give you kind of a chunk
Oh,
here,
yes.
so you have something to work with. Because you got to hold on to it, right? Alright, so I'm going to give you this, you're going to take this side, the fresh cut side, and you're going to try and cut. doing this. No. No.
Do that? Okay.
No. Alright, so I'm getting that shot. There you go. Remember, this is a sharp blade. This is the same kind of blade that would be used by a surgeon doing surgery on you.
I'm doing surgery on the celery.
Yes, you are.
Surgery on the
Look, like it breaks the glass.
And whoever ends up with the most beautiful slide is probably the one we'll put under the scope.
Let's go.
Celery.
What did not do?
Just like we're gonna
Oh
do
wow,
the
that
thing
was
that,
beautiful.
right?
Gum
I hate cereal.
We're gonna
I chose cereal.
Oh no.
Oh wow, this is oh wait,
Blade.
Sarah's here. I'm trying to make
Right?
sure.
Like doing the thing with like your thumb.
We don't want that.
I thought it all sides about.
Put on your slide.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Eat it.
Ellie's locking up.
It's an asparagus.
My mom likes it with
This is asparagus?
No.
Peanut butter.
Oh, asparagus.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I thought we were separated.
Yummy.
Oh my god.
You can actually fit this one. I got the second one's way better. No, mine. There's no.
I can't even.
Hair.
I'm just gonna cut a clean cut right here. I'm worried I'm gonna break this.
I don't think I can read through this.
Alright, so remember, you're
I don't
gonna
think
put
you
like
can
this, and
read
it doesn't matter for you. You're gonna try to slice as thinly as you can, a nice thin
I don't think I can
slice.
read through this.
Okay?
Okay.
John, no sir, no sir. Down, down, down. Yeah, there you go. Well, you're gonna have to work on it. Yeah, I don't want you cutting yourself, you see. That reflects poorly on the teacher.
I don't think the blades on when it's cut like that.
Okay, so that's when you start. Go ahead and start.
Oh, I can choose my best piece. Can I see
Like
the
these are
words
tiny.
from the page? I certainly can. Look at this. That looks so good. One more. That's my last one.
So you continue on something like that. Years of practice. How do you think?
I got this one. Oh, no, this one's.
Alright, so
I
I would,
Hey, I did it.
this part's
Like that. So now you can see through it.
Is this good?
The idea is when your cover slip goes on top, it won't bump at all. That's how thin it needs to be.
I see.
So you see yours there, that's nice and thin like that.
So, this would not work.
Yeah, this is just 2 or 3 right there. We pull those apart, don't cut yourself. That can cut you.
This good?
Let's see.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna bring a stain for you as
It's
well, y'all.
so sharp.
Okay, so that end's too thick, this end is close.
So you're speaking of
Yeah, that,
now.
especially that end of it. This is too thick right here.
Fake.
Well, oh yeah. Let me see.
I did it.
Ugh.
Pieces.
How thin does it have to be?
You have to put some stain on it, okay? So
Look.
bring a little cup.
Is this one okay?
Dab.
Oh, yes, I made one.
All of those are too thick.
Oh!
See, that's looking pretty good, but on your slide.
I got it right, see?
That's looking good.
It's a cucumber.
You know, that's what we're talking about.
What?
Wait, I thought we needed the
Mine
green
good?
Wait, let me
thingy.
see.
Am I good?
Oh.
It doesn't fall off, look.
Stop the cap.
Good. Okay, now you're not gonna put your cover slip on until we get.
Mine doesn't fall off, see?
I'm gonna keep cutting this because
Okay, so let's see, will it bump when we put a cover
I
slip
feel
on?
like a mini chef where you like to cut many things.
Yeah, this is
as
just
thin as I can
See if
get
I
it.
can see it this way? No.
Look at me dicing my celery.
Hey, Miss Casper.
Here I go.
This?
That looks good,
So I
especially
cut them,
on
but
this
I
right here, that
don't
for
think
us.
it's-
You have the big piece, man.
Here I go. Is this good enough?
Did we have enough asparagus to do this?
Jeff.
This side.
I'm just copying what she said.
And we'll just cut that
He's
side
the
off.
one that ever laughs at my stupid jokes.
Alright, let me find the stain that I'm gonna bring to you to put on there, those of you who have your specimen.
I think mine's
But
small
I
enough.
have a specimen.
Sugar, darn.
Okay.
Think-
Is this good?
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
That looks pretty good. If you're gonna walk with this, point it down.
Oh,
nice,
right, sorry.
Okay,
Forgot about that.
yeah.
I think mine's
That
good
looks,
enough.
it's close, buddy, it's close. So we're gonna see when we put the cover slip on there. Okay, now here's the deal, y'all.
Is mine too small?
Stain is called stain because it stains. I don't want a stain on the table.
Is mine too
Here's
small?
where I want the stain. It's gonna, a tiny drop is gonna go on your specimen, then you're gonna cover with the cover slip. So if you put a cup underneath you while you're doing it, at least if you do drip accidentally, it'll drip into the cup. be rinsing these like we've done in the past.
So I like put this like.
You can just
No,
put it over the cup, put your, it won't fit right in the middle on the edge. How are we coming over here, guys?
They might be small.
No,
The rest of your failure stuff, just scoop that off to the side of the table there.
Did you ever watch the backyard?
This is for y'all
I think I got the
to
perfect
like
piece.
mine. Rejected celery in there, please.
Okay, I think I got it.
Got plenty of that.
Rejected
Got it.
celery pieces. That looks pretty good. That one edge is kind of fat. Just cut it off. Just cut it off. That looks nice.
Bad edges.
Can I get
this stuff on my slidings? What? We don't have less slidings. I think it's because I got the egg.
All these poor little celery chunks are just gonna be going to waste.
What do you down?
Which means that we need
Turn on this side.
Larry?
Soulish.
Liz? Miss Casper.
Try this way.
Very vegetative.
So your point is it is. So how about let's do it.
Wow, what's that?
Very pungent.
Wow.
Thing in half.
Can I have a cool stain?
Where'd you go?
Oh no!
Forward.
Okay, because it is pretty big.
Look, I think I got it.
What?
When is the
Okay, did we get our drop of green? And then, so it should just be a little tiny bit of green. Awesome.
You're not.
Okay, Dakota, you're going to take your scope out of here and get it. Oh. Look at here.
Oh my gosh. That is like simple.
Just a little drop of green. And this stain is supposed to jump, make the mitochondria kind of jump out.
That was about to be a really big waste of stem cells.
And then he's like,
Oh, the
like
microscope.
it's on the trees like.
Yeah, now you're going to put those under a scope.
Why do you want to go to Shake Country Charity and watch on the beach? Isn't that cool?
Wait, can we do it right now? Yeah, more blue.
Just on a
Like,
That looks pretty good.
okay, after you, I'm gonna go.
It's good.
Okay, where's the stain? Let's pass the stain along. Who's ready for stain?
I mean, I'm
Go
gonna
ahead,
take it.
cover slip here. Yeah, I know your cover slip. This right there.
I have mine.
The golden fleece.
Oh, I can put one of, do I put one of these things?
Yes, you do. Uh-huh. These are called a
I
red
did
mount.
it. There's a telescope in there.
Mount.
I did it.
Okay,
I
and.
got
You're
her.
a professional.
There. Well, not.
Why do you say hurt like that?
And then put your cover
I
slip.
got it.
Put your cover slip with this one.
Look up to this.
Okay, I wonder how I did mine.
How can you get that before, huh?
There's your stain.
No, look
That
how
wasn't
thin
good
this
though.
is, my God.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah, a little drop, yeah.
That's weird. Okay, I'm
You think we're impressed?
Take your time. You still have to.
Oh, you think
I did it. See how clear that is.
this is going to snowboarding. On it?
Yeah, just put it right on
Who do you
top.
think? Who do you think cares? Huh?
That looks really good. So take all the rest.
Oh, you watch that dude? You watch that dude?
And then put that right in the middle of your slime.
Oh.
Wait, who made it?
Huh?
Who made it?
No, that dude's funny too.
I did it.
Look what you did.
I can't get these.
He actually like pointed out. In one of his videos.
That's
He was like, you're not gonna do it. You're just a block. I don't know, it's his teacher.
Question.
There. I just focused it.
What?
I see one of those little mitochondria.
Alright,
What do I do
anybody
with
have
it?
fingernails?
That's
Right here.
cool.
Yes, I do.
I just think got there.
These are two cover slips. You can do them apart.
That's what that's
You can't like push them.
Okay. So I put in like.
She said
What if you said we got Mexican?
I killed myself.
Wait, what if Burger King and Dairy Queen got married?
Paint.
They can't. They just
What
put
if
it.
Burger
What's your
King
name?
and
What if he just sings it
Oh.
all?
Miss Miss Casper. What if Dairy Queen and Burger King got married? No,
Dairy Queen and
Dairy
King.
Two mascots.
I did it.
It'd
I
be-
made the thinnest
It would
piece.
be what a pea.
It'd be,
It's like a fingernail.
Alright, here's don't lose
Huh.
track of that, okay?
it'd be
Lose
Dairy
track of that.
Dairy Burger.
Alright,
No, it'd be what a
staying and y'all are all staying back
Okay.
out.
Looks like
Martyr.
Didn't learn
Alright, here goes. Here
Okay, I
And then
believe
pass
mine
this
was
right along.
I like it.
Wait, which one do
So
I
I'll go
use?
ahead and get this out.
Oh,
Yo, I
Pick
see
one,
it.
yeah.
I see it with my knife.
Okay, what are y'all seeing in the scope over there? Gracie, what are you seeing?
It's cold. It's cold.
Something
It's
really
cold.
cool. Like kind of like
don't know
watery,
why.
so you can see it. I do say like a lot.
Olivia. Olivia.
What
That's actually negative. Look.
Ah, dog.
That's cold.
Oh, how did it was weirdo.
Sure.
here. Okay, now I have a knife.
Okay, now
I love,
you're
like,
gonna take a look at
putting
that.
bubbles in
Same
people's
specimen
My
here.
fingers.
Oh, wow.
Like, putting it on the side is the worst because
Everybody.
Put your
People
specimen
just
up
like.
there, look at it.
Alright, everybody.
Put your specimens on the scope and look at it. What are you seeing?
Oh, I have an idea.
We're seeing.
No,
I don't know what you call it.
Ooh.
That's like
Can I have
accidental.
another cover?
My idea here is if we find anything green, like
Do you know what to do?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, give me it.
Oh yeah, those are cells.
Sounds
looking for
like
a
one.
Are you doing
God,
good?
that's
No.
But the thing is too damn sharp.
Are you sure you know what to do?
No. So look at
No,
the,
he doesn't.
Look at the greenness. Whose slide is
Whoa.
that? Yours?
That's mine.
You
Am I
need to put stuff on there.
You see that green stuff in there?
Stuff your.
Supposedly those are supposed to be mitochondria. Now think about this, y'all. This celery's been sitting in the grocery store, so has it been going through photosynthesis?
He needs
in the
help on how to
grocery
do
store?
it.
It has not. David, be careful there.
It's not on.
Alright, wait, yeah, we
It
gotta
needs to be plugged in.
What?
Dude, you don't know how to do it.
See,
Oh,
look
it's
at your
on.
specimens too thick. Look at Eliana.
Is this enough?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and now
You're
put your cover slip
gonna have to
on
do
and
stuff
tap
on
it
there.
down.
Dude,
Guys, do y'all have your stain yet?
No.
Oh, you can't see anything without your stain. Put your stain on there, then your cover slip on top of that.
Oh, I'm getting this on my foot.
That's called a wet mount.
I'm like,
Oh, let me see after you.
Anything wrong?
Let me see.
there. You go first. Here, put it on your
Being
foot.
all cool and fancy. No, give me.
There.
Drop it on the. Hey. One drop. One drop. Bro, what is it doing? One drop.
Whoa.
I think you're supposed to put that. Miss Casper.
Yes.
Do you put the celery on this long one and then put that one on top of it?
You put the cover slip covers it. That's why it's called the cover slip.
Yo.
Where's your
And
slide,
she
buddy?
did.
Where's your slide go? That's not a slide, that's
Look,
a cover
this is
slip.
pure
Where's your
inside
actual
the
slide?
celery.
Right there?
This is like
So
the
put the
side
specimen on the
thing.
slide.
Surgery on a celery?
Right, the cover slip's on top.
What, let me see.
Covers it.
Yo, now can I
see?
try?
Hold on. So down
I wanna see
Yeah,
my
yeah,
blob,
tap it
bro.
It's the eye of the celery.
Now, put that on your scope.
Do you take
Oh, that's
this?
okay.
Look at this. I'm gonna dissect it.
No, the
Sorry.
slide,
Like that?
when you put it cover slip
Like
on
that?
the
Like that?
Yes.
Let it go.
Yeah.
I wanna look.
Yeah, I only have 3 scopes, so scope's coming your way. So, Olivia, you come help me since you're waiting for a scope.
Ow.
You will have to wear goggles.
Move it.
Okay.
My turn.
Dog.
Well, use it. You're looking at this one.
Oh. The empty boy.
Alright, you're gonna hold this.
See what?
Alright, y'all, so Olivia has a marshmallow,
Ooh.
and we are going to light it on fire.
This
What?
is so exciting.
Oh, nice. Can I
If I can find my matches. Okay, you're gonna go over
You
to this
just-
apparatus right here. It's a big
Just
fire.
set it out.
Over
here?
To burn
Stand by that beaker right there.
Hey,
Eat
listen,
some
listen.
flask.
Move, Johnny, move.
I want to eat it so badly. Very
No,
tempted.
yeah, Edna. I'm Edna.
Alright. No, there they are.
It smells good.
Okay, so we are gonna, like roast a marshmallow real quick, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna light that, and hopefully it's gonna catch on fire. And you're gonna take this while it's still on fire, and you're gonna put it into this nice, clean, flask like this, okay? So it's gonna be up in this flask, it's gonna be going underground combustion, we hope, and it's gonna go out, right? It's gonna go out because it's gonna use up the oxygen, right? You know that. But then we're gonna look at the size of, look at my nice, clean flask, yep, okay, hold that.
You eating it?
That was the fastest cut on I just had the celery.
Okay, stretch it out a little bit so I don't have the flame over your hands.
Oh wait, what?
There you go.
The dirt.
Cut faster is.
Oh my gosh.
Do you like let your thing get brown and then put on the marshmallow? Or what do you do?
Okay, now go ahead and put it up in the flask. See, it's on fire.
Really?
Fire!
Still going.
It did the correct.
Okay, excellent. Now I want you to look at the flask now. What is that?
Wait, hold on.
Y'all see the flask? What's the flask full of?
Can I eat it?
Condensate. Water. Can I eat it?
Water.
Can I
All right.
Is it not on?
It smells delicious because it's got a fruity thing. I need everybody to look in a scope. Everybody has seen their slide in the scope? You see these little tiny green
No, I
dots?
haven't.
Take a look at it. Oh, how did you see anything, y'all? There's no way you saw anything in this. It doesn't have the ocular.
That's really good.
I saw myself.
I know, I like to toast it, like where it's all black and then put it in the
Yeah.
Whoa, these little bunch of eyes.
Oh no, look what happened.
Thank you, bro.
That would look like.
I don't mind.
Oh, look, I just had a
Don't mind.
square out of this.
Chill
Look,
out.
watch this.
The cosmic web.
My sister had like a knife.
It's
She was
cosmic
like,
web.
It's where like billions
Your face is
Look.
cosmic web.
So I need her to do this. Okay, so
It's where a bunch of galaxies are.
You can't do this one because it's too long.
Around in there. Take a look at it.
You can't do this one, it's too long.
Be careful.
Shut
Is
up.
your slide? Okay. See those green things in there?
look, I did it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a lot different than what it looks before.
The green stuff, those green dots are supposedly mitochondria
Where'd you think of it?
inside the slide.
There.
Yeah, see, I say green.
Yeah, you
it's
could.
really dark.
Not,
The cellar's getting burnt.
Not as green as these are.
well, actually, you can try it. I don't know.
Here's the baby. Look at
I
all
don't know,
these.
Miss Pastor, you want to know if you can leave.
Have you looked in the slide? You look at your slide.
I looked at my slide.
Okay, then yeah, okay, is it too close then? Don't use that upper level.
You want Stranger
Bring
Things?
it in the face.
I love Stranger Things. It's like my favorite ever thing.
Oh yeah, I think Olivia told me that you're touching on that show.
All right.
They're all.
Has everybody looked in the scope?
You
Once you've looked in the scope, you are in it. I
Yeah.
really expect to see that drawn in your book somewhere, however, okay? On your write-up of your lab, write up what you did to make this slide, and then draw what you saw. And remember, you're supposed to be seeing mitochondria.
Seeing is believing. I think.
I dare you.
That's how it works.
Not for me.
Okay, very good, very good. Make sure and leave your blades on the table, please. Nobody can take a blade.
Oh man.
Just set them on the table right
I'll show
there.
you.
Well,
Miss Pastor,
there goes
All right,
my
see you next week.
Oh my gosh, my math. Oh my gosh, it smells like this.
We don't see the same. You see the holes and then all the little green dots? Those green dots are supposed to be our mitochondria. Yeah, okay? All right, y'all, you have to wait.
Alright, I'm going now. I got the class.
Yeah.
I got the big salary.
Make sure the scope is turned off.
I turned it off.
There's a little switch at the back probably.
Then it,
I think.
I got the biggest salary. I think it's so cool when you can just cut things really fast with a very sharp blade. Yes, I cut
You
them
can put your
myself.
microscope slides right in the trash can. What? Here's your slide, don't forget.
Hey, what's your favorite
glass
type
part
of
too?
smoked vegetable?
What?
The glass part too?
The glass microscope slide goes in the trash.
Ow!
Wait, do we have a quiz?
No, next week.
Next week, wait, so you changed it?
It was wrong on the schedule.
Good.
Right in the trash. Some people wash them, but they're not worth all that.
Oh no!
Sorry.
¿Dónde tengo mañana?
I have her knife now.
Oh no, he has a say and I.
Oh, guess I'm gonna have to stab you 3 times with them.
Oh no, it's on the
Where did I put the knife? Oh, I
Too bad, so sad.
I want to eat the celery.
All right, guys, see you next week. Quiz next week.
only 4 years ago. She's only 5.
Alrighty, students, you may enter. Sorry for the delay.
I built
We're not using that back table that has stuff still on it, so just sit in one of these other tables.
What happened?
We just were running a little late.
We're probably a week late, but this is fossils we brought in for you to- from Indiana, 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 and of course those are Texas.
Did you collect them yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. This one in particular.
Yes,
That looks like bone, doesn't
it
it?
is. It's a bone.
It's like a
This
hip bone or
one-
something.
Sorry.
Part of the crinoid shell.
That is the biggest crinoid I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Biggest are-
Anyway, I'll come back,
Man,
I'm gonna come back and get them at the end of class, so
Now,
you
you
don't have
collected,
to.
have you ever had them like appraised or anything?
No, never have.
Because I always tell my students, I say, especially when you find something that's not a shell,
Yeah.
they're worth it.
Up home, this stuff is so common. I lived in
Really?
southern
Oh
Indiana.
my
You go into
goodness.
any creek bed or anywhere where they've cut to make a road, you can
Yeah.
close your eyes, reach down, and pick them up like this. Yeah, I have about a half a dozen,
This is a beautiful specimen.
trilobites at home. Yeah,
rock or
see,
is it- Oh, I love
every rock in every creek is like
It
this.
sounds like
Okay.
it sounds like this one is hollow.
Oh, really? Sounds like
You
it?
see this? This is sedimentary rock,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's all the seashells.
Yeah, so shells are what we, like 96% of all fossils are shells.
You see, you can pick those up.
That is an incredible specimen.
shell is it?
That's the whole, that's a cast of an entire
Yeah.
clan.
Clamshell.
So, but this one, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's like a bone.
I just held onto this in my
I mean, so maybe a mammalian bone, which would be worth money.
Yes.
What do you got?
I didn't even know you had this.
Oh, yeah, from the,
Yeah.
that's cement from the Great Wall. of
But
China.
anyway, I'll be back
thank
in
you.
class.
Yeah,
No
Great
problem.
Wall of
China.
I know, I was kidding.
Yeah.
From the,
Wait, is that like
Berlin.
is that like the wood that
This
turns
is
to a rock?
petrified wood, yeah,
What
and
is
this is
this?
petrified wood.
What is this?
So,
Looks like a
so it's called a crinoid stem, and a crinoid stem is sort of like, I'm gonna say, a very, skinny starfish. Didn't I show that to you? It's called a sea fan, and it comes out like that. Anyway, this is the biggest I have ever, I mean, the ones I see are this big, like this. I've never seen anything that large. That is nuts. So Mr. Clark actually collected these himself. He did not buy these. He collected these.
I don't even know where you
I
He
got
said Indiana.
I have
He
3
covered most of them.
tablets.
Three what?
Tablets.
Tablets,
At my house.
what do you mean by tablets?
Just a tablet.
You mean like a computer?
No. No.
like
Like
Paper?
that lets you play. Like
No.
play.
Well, you can't.
Is that what you don't have something like that?
Well,
Yeah, but bigger.
we can't have. It doesn't have the. It doesn't have games on it.
Okay, it's some sort of piece of, technology?
Yeah. Basically just.
Okay, gang, sorry about, oh goodness, I still have my recording going, yikes.